have a quorum. Looks like everyone's here. Good evening. I would like to ask you at this time, we will call this meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen for the City of Natchez to order. And I'd like you, please, at this time, join me in a word of prayer to be followed by our pledge. Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this beautiful day you've given us, and we thank you for each day. And Father, we thank you especially for the hour now that is upon us where we make important decisions for the city of Natchez. Father, tonight also marks an anniversary, Lord, for this day 7, that Wallace Jackson Sr. lost his life in the fight for civil rights simply because he took a promotion and was working to support his family. And Father, we know that this time, as we come to the History Month, is a time where there are those in our midst who deal still with heartache and with challenge and with disappointment. And Father, we ask a special prayer for them tonight, but also, Lord, a prayer for our community, our city, that we would continue making strides, Lord, that we would each day strive to be a better city than we were the day before. Father, I thank you for each person who serves on this board, and ask that you would be with us tonight in a very special way. In your name we pray, in the name of love. Amen. Amen. Let us now repeat together our pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. We'll ask the clerk to administer the roll call.
Alderwoman Hall. Here. Alderman Frazier.
Here.
Alderwoman Smith. Here. Alderwoman Irving.
Here.
Alderman Davis.
Here.
Alderman Maroney.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, all are present and accounted for.
Thank you so much. It is a pleasure again to be here. Hard to believe that February is almost over. My goodness. And we now come to the time of approving minutes, and we don't have any to approve this evening.
That's correct.
We would normally welcome visitors, but we don't have any visitors this evening. The city's depository home bank has asked to approach the board this evening. Deanna Kimbrough, who is the president here, home bank, in the Mississippi market, and also her team. And we will ask her to approach the board now and to introduce her team and their purpose for being here.
And I thank you guys for giving us the time to come and talk to you all. What we really want to talk to you is about the Federal Home Loan Bank product that we have, which is a help product. And it's really does a lot for people when they're buying their first home. And what I've done is I've brought Scott Cobb here as our mortgage officer, and he's going to tell you all about the program and what it can do. And if you can just, we want to make you aware of it, bring it to your constituents, and just get the word out so people can actually become homeowners that maybe thought they weren't going to be able to. So Scott Cobb.
I feel bad if I turn my back on somebody, so forgive me. Can anybody hear me? Thank
Yes,
you all
we
for your
can.
time. So like Deanna said, Scott Cobb with Home Bank. I'm Louisiana and Mississippi's residential mortgage lender. I want to talk to y'all about two different things. First being Home Bank's own program. It's what we call our Home Access Program. It's in Adams County only, which allows a 620 credit score, 100% financing, no PMI, low closing costs. And if y'all need any of these details, I do have other flyers, and I'll leave my business cards here as well. So y'all are welcome to contact me, email me, call me, whatever. Get in touch with Deanna. She knows how to get in touch with me as well. So it's in Adams County only. So that is Home Bank's own program and service loans through the duration. We do a 30-year fixed mortgage rate on that program. And we'll go down, like I said, to a 620 credit score. If you don't have a credit score of 620, we can build credit with alternative trade lines with the score. rent history, things like that, utility bills, cell phone bill, insurance payments, so on and so forth. Another product that Home Bank offers, it's not just in Adams County, it's in any other county and parishes, because I know a lot of people, Vidalia, Concordia Parish, and so on and so forth. So is our grant funds. Last year it was 15. This year it's 20,000. You have to be a first-time home buyer, and you have to qualify income limits, household income limit wise. Same with our home access program that we can only, this grant program can be done anywhere in the state of Mississippi and in the state of Louisiana. $20,000 towards down payment or closing costs. Now, you can't get any money back in hand because I can do that with any program. Any 100% program, they can use it to pay their closing costs. They can use it to do whatever, but they can't get any money back. So whatever money they don't use of the 20,000 can go to apply to the principal payment of the new loan on the home that they purchase. So like I said, those products are for first-time home buyers. Both of them have income limits, but it's based on the number of people in the household. And that includes infants, children. If there's a husband and wife, and we take both incomes and they're both working, we use both incomes. So a household, let's just say they have a child, household of 3, and depending on what parish or county they're located in, we look up that household limit. So 80% area median income, but the home access is only Home Bank's program done in Adams County. Okay. The other grant program can be done anywhere across the state of Mississippi and Louisiana, and that's $20,000 towards down payment or closing costs. So like I said, I'm not going to take up much time, but I have the grant help funds flyer, and I'm going to leave some here, and I'm also leave some of my business cards. So I know, did everybody get a flyer, a flashlight, and a little booklet? If you didn't, you're welcome to it. We have extras. Just let us know, and Deanna, I'll be glad to pass them out. Again, Scott Cobb, thanks for y'all's time.
We appreciate you and the service you provide.
And I just wanted, because normally we would do the Federal Home Loan Bank, the SNAP program with James. And we really appreciate that we've been able to do that for so many years. And so since we're not doing that this year, this is something else that we offer through the Federal Home Loan Bank that will hopefully help people in our area. So I want to thank you all for that.
Mr. Mayor,
Thank you. Yes.
I just want to say thank you for bringing that presentation. I feel like that would go over well in the community because we have a lot of people that live on fixed incomes, and now they can have the opportunity to have the American dream, which is to own a home.
Exactly.
And so when you go in within our communities, I will get your contact information so that we can put it out in the community. It needs to be told.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you.
A flyer.
Yes,
Right
sir.
here is my contact.
Okay.
I believe
And
it also has my email address. It does. And I think my direct number at the office.
Thank you.
I'll leave some of my business cards with the
Okay.
remaining flyers right here on the chair. The flashlight, awesome flashlights. You pull the white tab out, they'll watch.
I saw that.
I have them everywhere. I put them in my house everywhere. I
Your
put
car?
them in my vehicle.
Yeah.
They're work. So
Thank
they're
you.
really cool. But
Thank
y'all
you.
again.
Thank you.
y'all. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Mhm.
so much. Thank you. Next, we have a public hearing, and the adjudicated properties public hearing will be our first public hearing. And I will now entertain the motion to go into public hearing for this purpose.
So move.
Motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. We will call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. We now are in a public hearing, and we are having this hearing to adjudicate service. As we understand, a number of properties have been reported to the city over the past couple of months, in addition to those that we've already adjudicated. The properties that are on our list for adjudication this evening. And those properties are actually, I have two.
Mr. Mayor, can we,
All-
before you, are we able to ask Officer
I
Grover?
was just about to ask him to come up.
Okay.
Officer Grover, DeWardrick, Grover is our code enforcement officer. And we have a schedule in front of us. And my first question on my report, officer, it says properties in red are subject to adjudication. What are the properties that you have to come before us this evening?
We have 4 Henderson Street, 102 Kennedy Drive, and 411 Oakland Drive.
Okay, could you explain what's going on at each property?
102 Kennedy, the fence line is down. There's a tree and bushes going over. That's basically it.
Yes. And what's going on there at 411 Oakland?
The back is a shed that's torn down, and it's overgrowth along the back of that.
Yes. And 4 Henderson Street?
Henderson Street should be a private property, it's not up there, but
I have a question, if I may.
I mean,
Okay.
according to the list here,
It's not.
offensive accumulations, dilapidated property, but it was not highlighted in red on our report. I don't see a picture. Is there a reason?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Yeah.
this one actually was pulled in the office. They came in, excuse me, on Thursday of last week and got the permission
Okay.
for that property.
So we're only dealing with two tonight. That's what I thought. There were only two. Okay. So we're dealing with 102 Kennedy Drive and 411 Oakland Drive. Okay. I will entertain a question, Alderwoman. Yes.
That is what I was referring to, was the property on 4 Henderson. It did not have a photo in,
Yes.
and that's
I
gonna be demolition.
thought that it had come off.
Okay.
All right. So this is what we will ask. Yes. Alderwoman Hall.
About the other properties on there? as well?
Certainly.
Okay,
Of course.
I'll wait until.
But at this time, I'd like to go ahead and take care of these two properties. There are only two before us for adjudication tonight. Adjudication means that it allows the city to take the proper legal steps to address the situation and then to charge the property owner for any costs that may result. Do we have anyone here representing 102 Kennedy Drive? We do? All right. Sir, if you would come to the podium and then state your name. Do we have a sign-in sheet at the podium? We usually,
Yeah, my clipboard was not in my drawers.
oh, here we are. All right. We're going to provide you a sheet that you can sign in.
Thank you.
And tell us your name.
My name is Rafael Ayala, and my cousin, actually, he owns the property on 102 Kennedy Drive.
Yeah.
But he lives in Kentucky. He's
Okay.
been over there for more than 10 years.
Yeah.
And I'm taking care of that place. Pictures, the neighbor's house is the one,
If we can get the pictures up.
yes, with all these bushes and
Yeah.
stuff, they're on the side of my neighbor's property, and then just leaning over my fence. So all that, I mean, that's not even, yeah, that's not even my fence right there. That's his fence on the side of the, his property, I mean, has all kinds of stuff in the backyard, front yard, same, and all these bushes that just leaning over my fence. But I can't cut anything of that because they don't belong to me.
Yes, Alderwoman.
I do know the law. If it's over your property line, it is your
responsibility to.
Right, I mean, I keep a trim on my side just to the fence line, but it looks bad because it's on their side. I mean, the limbs and everything's on his side. He has garbage cans and all kinds of stuff inside. And I don't know what the address is, if it's, the 100, what, I don't know what number he is in.
Officer Grover, can you speak to what you've seen there on your physical?
Go back to the front.
Right, so the fence,
That's your residence? That's your residence?
yeah, but the picture is in, I mean, like, in the right now, everything is painted on the phone, shows that, and since when that bush was not there anymore, I've been more, I mean, I painted more over a year ago. Yes, sir.
That's a picture.
I took, I did a picture of that.
Hold on, I'll probably show us.
Yeah.
That's not a year.
Yes, I don't have to push it. I don't have to push it. The house is on the front, is painted.
That's still there.
Oh, that's not my house. then.
That's not your house?
No, it looks exactly the same. The shutter bill was the same. Everything was the same. But that's the neighbor's house. That's my neighbor's house. That's not one of
That's
the.
the first house.
Just
on
that's first
Kennedy.
in the corner.
Your house, the first house.
Mine's the second.
Yours is the second. one?
Yeah, the first one's 100. And I've been over there to see that one before. I think it's the first house that's the problem.
It's the first. The wrong house.
It's the first.
Yeah.
The first house, they have the red fans, the wood fans.
That's not.
No, that's not one of the.
100. Okay.
Yeah, that's 100.
I'm so sorry. It appears that there has been a
No, that's
misunderstanding,
completely fine.
and I'm really grateful
No, that's
that
fine.
you came to clear that up.
My notes, I have 100 Kennedy, but I guess that's.
It's okay.
Yeah, I
Things
even
happen.
placed it- I even placed it on 100 Kennedy.
Yeah, I mean, the house, it looks.
Have the notices been sent to 100 Kennedy or 102 Kennedy?
It's 100.
Well, we obviously then have made an error. We're going to have to take that off, and I'm so sorry. And we'll have to get to the bottom of why that occurred. Thank you so much. Thank you. We're going to then have to, Officer Grover, reevaluate 100 Kennedy Drive and get that corrected.
It's in my house, it's 100.
We've made a clerical error, and I apologize for the confusion. So we'll work to get that corrected. We will ask 411 Oakland Drive here. Okay? Hello. If you could sign in and please state your name and your relationship to the property.
On this paper here?
Yes. And we'll need your name and address on the list.
I guess I'll do son.
Put your name and address.
Okay, we need you to state your name and address and then describe to us the situation.
I'm Matthew Evans.
All right.
I'm the son to Jeanine Evans. She owns property for 411 Oakland Drive.
Yes. And is this a correct picture of the house?
The only thing I was gonna kind of talk about was in the back, our old shed. It was old, but that's the neighbor's tree that had fell on it that caused it to collapse. As for the rest of the state of the backyard, that's kind of just on them. But I'm not, I'm working on a little bit of information myself, so.
Mr. Attorney, as I understand it, even if it's the neighbor's tree and they're, regardless of what's going on between the owner and the neighbor, the owner of the house is still responsible for this.
That's correct.
And so Mr. Evans, as much as we hate to see this happen, I don't think it can be taken off the adjudication list.
Okay, could you define that more for me?
The adjudication process allows the city upon adjudication to go into the property and remediate the property, and then any charges incurred by the taxpayers, the city of Natchez, are then collectible from the property owner, either just by direct payment or an attachment to the taxes on the property.
Okay, would that be
Yes.
effective immediately, or is there like a grace period? Because they just started trying to remove the tree and picking up the rest of the trash and all that was in the shed.
Generally,
Would that help
when
any?
we move to then remove the problem, we do have to find a contractor and get all of that approved, and that can take a couple weeks. How long do you think it'll take to remediate the problem?
They've done pretty good now. The tree, getting the tree limbed up might take a minute. As for just the trash and everything else, they might have that done probably by next week.
Well, the adjudication would have to proceed if the board votes that way tonight. It depends on what the board votes. But definitely, the contractor would not be able to clean up if it was already cleaned up. So we would encourage you, in about the 2 weeks it takes to get a contractor, to go ahead and get it cleaned up.
Get as much done as I can possible. And this would, I guess, include the rest of the backyard, right?
Definitely, grass and weeds is considered a violation, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Um,
Yes, Alderman Davis?
You said you have it. He said you have it done by next week.
Probably.
Oh well, 2 weeks then.
I mean, if y'all can, I mean, obviously the more time the better.
Absolutely.
But if it's gonna take
Well,
them, if their
the
quickest process
adjudication-
is the 2 weeks.
This
I would
is,
like
this
to-
is our problem with that. Once an adjudication process starts and gets to this point, we can't restart it. But we can definitely try to work with the contractor.
Yeah.
Once the contractor is adjudicated and the contractor puts on, it's done. To take you off the list tonight would mean that, we have to start the process all over again. And Alderman Maroney?
My question is, when did this process start? I mean, when did letters start going off to Grover? You've been working on this property obviously for quite some time. I don't think he came out just this past week. And
December 15th.
I mean, this has been going on for a while. If it's gotten to the
The,
point where we're adjudicating the property, you've had ample time to do something about this. And if we just keep letting people, oh, well, okay, you're working on it now, you should have been working on it before now. It's gotten to the point of being adjudicated. It's too late.
Okay.
The
It's
warning
too late
letter
now.
went out
You
December
should have gotten
15th.
this done a long time ago. This is a long
So how many-
process. People have been
so how many
complaining
letters do
about
you
it
think
to
have
the
been
point that it's
sent?
gotten put on this list.
I got
This should
the-
have been taken care of.
I got the resident here that can answer how many
Okay.
letters they could have gotten.
Certainly, if the resident wants to.
The resident of that thing.
Forward, certainly,
That's one thing.
Andy?
yes. Hello, we'll need you to sign in and also state your name and address for us.
My name is Mandy Adams. I actually am the one living at the property right now. I started this process of trying to get it cleaned up last week. All we got left is the back wall of the shed and one little, maybe there were probably about a little quarter of a section. I got pictures of it, of how much we got done. But I did not have the money to sit and pay somebody to do it. There's times to where I work 70 hours a week.
Yeah.
And I'm coming home, leaving at night, coming home at 7 o'clock at night, sometimes 9 o'clock at night. I can't sit and knock down a whole building myself. This was a sturdy building at one time. But I do have pictures of it, of how much progress we have gotten done. And it's a pretty good bit within a week's time. I just had to sit and save the money to be able to get it done.
I'm willing to give her some time.
Thank you.
Ms. Adams,
Thank you.
would you share those pictures with us? Could we just
I
take a
may.
look at them? Mhm, certainly.
This is how much we got left. This was a pretty good, nice size shed. And then we do got a lot of debris down here at the bottom where, because we did have belongings in it. There's been stuff there since I was a child. But of course, I got the trees and
Yes,
stuff that fell
yes.
on it.
Mhm,
But I do have somebody that's willing to cut up this tree
mhm,
that actually fell on my fence line behind it also.
mhm.
But it's,
If I could ask this question, and Ms. Adams, you're welcome to show that picture to others who might like to see it. This is what I want to ask is, Mr. Attorney, if we go ahead and do this adjudication,
we got the debris. Which that's
we-
a shovel.
we
shovel.
can,
Okay.
ask the contractor to perhaps give them 2 more weeks, or, once the contractor's selected.
That wouldn't be a problem. That'd be fine.
I'm sorry.
So what we could do is, while we would proceed with the adjudication, we would ask our code enforcement officer to communicate to the contractor, once the contractor is selected, to allow an additional 2 weeks before taking any corrective action. Alderwoman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do want to clarify that we don't like to adjudicate properties. We do not want to use taxpayers' money to clean up private property. It's just a process, so it will not happen overnight. Y'all should.
We'll wait 1 second.
No, I was just saying that it's not our goal to adjudicate property. We don't want to spend the taxpayers' money to clean up private property. That's a last resort. So if y'all are doing this, it does not, the process doesn't happen
It
overnight.
doesn't happen overnight.
So if y'all are continue working on this, the likeliness of you being done is high if y'all are really working on it. So, yeah.
Okay.
So
even though the adjudication will likely go through, I would say that the contractor is likely to work with you. But if it was to go, this is, the end of February, and if by end of March it was still there, the contractor would have to just take it on down.
Right.
And it'd be at the city's expense, and then that would then be attached to the property, and you would either have to just pay it as a payment to the city or with your taxes on the next cycle when you pay your taxes. Okay.
Mr. Evans, who owns this property? Who's the owner?
Our mother,
What is her name?
Janine Evans.
Janine Evans? Thank you. Okay.
All right. I thank you so much for coming by, and I do empathize for your situation, and we hope that we can resolve this amicably over the next month.
Recap. Okay. So within the next.
I would say the adjudication is going to go forward. However, in the time it takes the city to get a contractor, and in the time it takes a contractor to get this project scheduled, you should have another month to be able to get it down.
Thank you.
Without that happening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Adams. Thank you, Ms. Evans, and Mr. Evans. Thank you. We, and as Alderwoman Smith said so well, we don't want and we don't like to adjudicate property. We're here to just make sure our city does rise to that standard where we all can call it a clean, safe place where all want to live.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
since we are speaking of trees,
Yes.
and this happens so often because we have lots of trees in the city of Natchez, I think that may be something that needs to be placed in the paper so that residents of our community will understand. Because unfortunately, I had the same thing happen and I lost 2 vehicles Okay? And I do understand the process. However, the public does not know. And so when you place that in the paper, it makes everybody aware of when trees fall from others' property on your property, then you have to own that
That's right.
if it's growing there. But again, often the public don't know these things. And so they're sitting and they're waiting. I didn't know either. I had to find out the morning that it happened when I called the insurance company out. Okay. However, most people don't know. So I think if we would inform that, put that in some form, the newspaper, Bluff City Post, Natchez Democrat, listen up, y'all. Well, however we want to disseminate that information, but the public needs to know. And that way we'll get a better response.
But I will say that property owners who neglectfully allow trees to die and stand and present a safety hazard to their neighbors can be adjudicated. And we have had to do that in the past. In fact, we have reported 2 today that have been reported where the trees pose a threat to other property. And so anyone who has a neighbor with dangerous trees that are dead, it can't be that you just don't like the tree, but if the tree is dead and definitely a threat to you or to other properties, you're welcome to report that to our code enforcement department.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes?
I'm not disputing what you're saying about the decayed tree. However, I know there are healthy trees that fall with the amount of wind that we've had.
Yes.
Okay, these
That
things
can't
do
be
fall.
predicted. We can't go through town
But I'm just saying,
forcing
again, it's
people to
just
cut
not
down
decayed
healthy
trees.
trees.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I
we
wouldn't
don't
want to
have
do
any
that, but
legal
it does
basis.
happen.
But the city doesn't have any legal basis to force anyone to cut down a healthy tree. The other properties that are on the list, I just want to again commend Officer Grover. Officer
I have a
Grover,
question, Mr. Mayor.
I'm so sorry, I can't see, and so it just get my
Thank
attention.
you.
I couldn't see you. Yes, you're recognized, Alderwoman Hall.
14 Beaumont Street. The board removed this back in June. I voted nay against doing that because the owner was cited for grass, weeds, and an unsafe structure.
Mhm.
And he was getting ready, according to him, sell it by August.
Mhm.
However, Officer Grover rechecked the property in December and work was being done. Yes, the grass gets cut. This is still an unsafe structure.
Okay.
Mr. Attorney, how do we proceed with this? This is still an unsafe structure.
I went by that property yesterday, and I agree with you that it is dilapidated and poses a hazard. It's my recommendation, and I talked to the code enforcement about this, that we do similar to what we did with Mr. Evans, and that is make a date certain by which it has to be corrected. If there's some concrete there, the concrete has fallen, there's a brick wall that's about to give way. A certain amount of time, and I would say April 1st. That would be about 30 days. And if it's not corrected, then we go ahead and demolish the property.
We'll have to follow the adjudication process. And so Officer Grover, I would say beginning immediately, please begin. And that means another warning letter being mailed and starting the process of adjudication all over again, following the attorney's advice. Alderwoman Hall?
I had a question about them though.
Oh,
because they
that's
should have
fine.
been.
I'm entertaining questions.
Right,
This is our list,
Any questions?
and we are, there were two on the list.
So we need to get out of the public hearing for
Would
those.
you rather do that
I
and
think
just,
that's what we're supposed to do.
well, you know, it can
Yeah.
be done either way. It can actually be done either way.
Okay.
But if you would like for us to end the public hearing and
I
go back
didn't know that
into,
it could, it's fine.
I stand corrected if I'm wrong.
I think you're right.
I think we can just go ahead and dispense with
I
these
have
while
one-
we're
I
here.
have one more.
All right, Alderwoman.
And Mr. Attorney, this is 24 Beaumont. This, half of this house is falling, has fallen. It's also an unsafe, dangerous structure. It's severely overgrown. It was adjudicated June 20th, 2023. And there was a delay in notifying the owner. Apparently, the owner is deceased, and he would be probably. But it was my understanding that an heir to that property approached our code enforcement office Mr. Dukes, and wanted to meet with Officer Grover. Apparently, that meeting did not take place because he said he wanted to restore that property. That property is still an unsafe structure. It is falling in. And now apparently we can't even get in touch with Mr. Dukes. So how do we proceed with this property?
I also went by that property yesterday. It's on the same side of the street. In fact, I thought
Yes.
it was 14 when I went by. But I talked to Ms. Ezell, and I recommended to her that, again, we allow 30 days. This was an owner who did not get notice. So I asked her to renotice it and give the new people 30 days. And then we'll proceed to adjudication.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I would
Thank you,
say,
Mr. Mayor.
thank you. I would say let's make sure to have that process begin immediately. At this time, I don't see any other comments, any other property owners here on this public hearing list. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the public hearing and go back to regular session. Alderman Davis has made that motion,
Second.
seconded by Alderman Maroney. Discussion?
What, Mr. Mayor, I just want to say,
Yes.
I just want to say one thing. I'm looking at the dates, 12/7/23. And so here we are in February now. And so I just want, that's a time space in between, because when I look back on Henderson Street, those properties actually need to be recut again. And so I was just
Okay.
looking to see 23, 25.
Yes. Yes.
So
All right. Just
On
as,
the time frame.
just as Alderwoman Hall has asked that we begin adjudication again on 2 of these properties, we'd be happy to on any that you would
Okay.
say. However, the motion was to adjourn the public hearing, and discussion on that motion is what we're doing right now. The motion was made to adjourn the public hearing and go into regular session. Any discussion on that motion? I'll call the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. At this time, we need to entertain a motion for adjudication. The verbiage of that motion is always very specific. Do we have that verbiage for the motion that needs to be made and passed by this board? It should be a part of this. I don't
it's not
see
in here. It was not a part of it.
it's not a part of that. Madam Clerk, we're going to need that verbiage. We're going to need that verbiage for the motion to adjudicate.
See if I can pull it.
Okay. While we're doing that, Alderman, Alderwomen, are there any other properties that you would like rechecked or an adjudication process on this list?
That's on this list.
Yes.
Henderson Street, 19 and, let's see, 23 and 25. Yes, sir.
If you would start the process over again, to start with a warning letter and proceed to adjudication if need be. Officer Grover.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any others? Do we have any others? All right. We're going to move on with our meeting until that can be brought forward. At this time, I will entertain a motion to go into another public hearing for the purposes of discussing the 2024 Land and Water Conservation Fund. Motion made by Alderwoman Hall. Seconded. Seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion. We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Mr. Johnston, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. This is in regard to a potential application I'll be bringing to the board at the next board meeting with regard to the 2024 land by the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. Public hearing. Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks requires public input in the development of a community's Land and Water Conservation Fund application. What follows is a brief summary of the program and program requirements. Afterwards, comments from the public and mayor and board will be requested. An attendance sheet is being passed around for all to sign. Hopefully so. Amount of eligible funds. Approximately $1 million in land and water conservation funds will be made available statewide for program year 2024. The applications due no later than, that's a typo right there, my bad. Early part of May 2024. Eligible activities. Examples of eligible activities include but are not limited to sport and ball fields, picnic facilities, trails, swimming facilities, boating facilities, renovated facilities, etc., as well as eligible sporting facilities, including but not limited to restrooms, concession areas, operation and maintenance facilities, beautification, indoor facilities, access roads, etc. Maximum amount eligible and match requirements. An eligible applicant may apply for up to $200,000 for eligible activities, with the local match being on a 50-50 basis. Project time frame. All projects must be completed within 24 months or 2 years of award. Rating criteria. The rating criteria developed for this program is as follows. Program regulations are followed. Matching fund requirements are met. Citizen participation is followed. Compliance with the Mississippi State Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan and other program requirements. All sites receiving Land and Water Conservation Fund assistance are required to be opened and operated during normal operating hours and maintained in perpetuity as parks and cannot be converted without state permission. Proof of ownership is required with submission of the application. All projects must comply with the architectural barriers and uniform federal accessibility standards as the Department of the Interior's Section 504 Americans with Disabilities Act. Past funding. The City of Natchez received approximately $85,468 in 1973 to construct tennis courts, nature trail, picnic sites, etc. at both Duncan Park and Anchorage Park, now referred to as North Natchez Park, and in 1979 received approximately $129,000 to acquire 16.75 acres at Duncan Park. More recently, the city received $150,000 to go towards the construction of the Duncan Park Tennis Center in 2015. In 2019, the city received just under $173,000 for improvements at the Natchez Adams County Aquatic Center, including the construction of showers and locker facilities, installation of a pool heater and solar panel cover, installation of permanent bleachers, lockers, and extending the decking. Potential 2024 projects. Discussions have been held concerning the undertaking of a phase 2 renovation of the Duncan Park Golf Pro Shop. Miscellaneous fees. Designing and engineering fees are allowable up to 8% of total construction cost. Comment period. Comments will be received by the City of Natchez per the public hearing and notice that appeared in the newspaper through from beginning tomorrow, February 28th through March 30th, 2024. Comments can be mailed to the P.O. Box 1185 or sent to my email address. Questions or comments?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I do.
Yes, Alderman Barone.
How much did you say was available for a project and what was the match?
The match is dollar for dollar and up to $200,000 can be applied for. So we can potentially do a $400,000 project or a little higher if the board so chooses to. But we do not recommend a great over match.
Right. Any other questions or comments? This is a public hearing. If anyone wanted to speak to the subject,
Have a hand raised.
just yes. Yeah, ma'am, to speak, you'll need to come to the podium and also provide us your name and address.
My name is Jimmy Lynn Coleman, and I was wondering with the park thing, so would that mean that like the kids would get like an awning or more stuff with, is that how that works with the grant? Does that mean that the kids would have more stuff for them to do? Is that, or what, how would that,
Depending
what
on
would
what the
that?
board wants to apply for, equipment is an eligible activity.
So that would be.
It's an eligible activity.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering if that's at Duncan Park, correct?
It's any park,
Any other
not
park?
just Duncan Park.
So the money would be dispersed?
No, we would apply for one project. I've never been a person who applied for
Oh,
multiple projects.
the money would just go to one certain
project.
park? And then, and then how would you find out like what equipment or things to put
We
at
will
the
put
park?
that in the application, whatever we decide to apply for. Whether it be pool improvement, building construction, building renovation, that would be outlined in our application. So we're working.
And then but it wouldn't say, I was just wondering like if the kids would get more, would they like put like an awning for over some of the toys for like, because in the summertime, like the kids, they be wanting to play outside, but they be wanting to play on the toys, but the toys be too hot. And then if they have
the
an awning.
decides to purchase playground equipment, go in an open space like that, we could specify some type of cover for it if that's what the city wants to do.
I got a question.
Yes, Alderman.
So right now, we don't know what we're gonna apply for, correct?
There has been some discussion, Alderman Frazier, but I will not come to the board to ask for a motion on a project until the next board meeting.
Oh, so there's been a discussion between,
There's been it's been something in passing, and that's been the extent of it.
so what I'm saying, you say there's been a discussion, but it hasn't been between the board or who it's been between?
I think when I came previously, a potential project may have been thrown out, or in my time at City Hall, it may have been discussed with the mayor and whomever, because again, I have been working on this application, and I did bring it to the board a month ago, give or take. But I have been working on something as far as general terms, nothing specific.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
I just want to say when the dollar amount was decided upon, just to be informed, because it did say dollar.
It's a dollar for dollar match, yes,
So that
ma'am.
means that will come out of our budget. It has to come out of a particular account.
Yes, ma'am, it'll have to be budgeted. I do want to add, one thing that the state did make, us aware of, in conversation and with the program guidelines is applications are due in early May of this year, in a couple of months, and they'll make the award announcements next May. So whatever we do, we won't incur any cost during this fiscal year, though we have to show our match in our application. And we probably won't incur a tremendous cost next fiscal year either, except for probably architectural services. Our costs will probably be incurred in FY26. But we do need to show where our matching funds are coming from in the application.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions? All right, we will call, I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson, we need more to sign in this. We've signed it. Okay. Okay, thank you. We'll entertain a motion now to adjourn the public hearing and return to regular meeting. Motion made by Alderwoman Smith and seconded by Alderwoman Hall. We'll ask for discussion on the motion. Hearing none, call the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
The ayes have it, motion carries. The public hearing is now ended. We're back in regular session. Alderwoman Hall, I'll recognize you at this time.
Mr. Mayor, I have the resolution.
Yes.
For the adjudicated property. If you want to
Yes.
read it.
All right. If you would read it in making your motion, or the city clerk, if you would like.
Move that this has to be a roll call vote once I read the resolution.
Yes.
On the adjudicated property at Oakland Drive, 411 Oakland Drive.
Okay. We have to, for our minutes, read the entirety of the resolution.
Yes.
Okay.
A resolution of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of Natchez, Mississippi, adjudicating nuisance properties in Natchez, Mississippi. Whereas the Charter of the City of Natchez, Mississippi provides powers to the Mayor and Board of Aldermen generally to ensure property is clean and maintained and to ensure the health, safety, and welfare. And whereas the Mayor and the Board of Aldermen, as authorized by the state law and Section 42-81B of the Natchez City Code, following the provision of the notice required by Section 21-1911 of the Mississippi Code of 1972 as amended, held a public hearing on February 27, 2023, 6 p.m. at 115 South Pearl Street, Natchez, Mississippi, in the council chamber building, to determine if the property herein described is in such a state of uncleanliness to be a menace to public health, safety, and welfare of the community. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Mayor and Board of Aldermen in regular council convened that pursuant to the aforesaid Section 21-1911, Mississippi Code 1972 as amended, the condition of the following property was of uncleanliness as to be a menace of public health, safety, and welfare of the community. Floor 11, Oakland Drive, Natchez, Mississippi. The Mayor and Board of Aldermen the public interest and necessity requiring same, this resolution shall become effective upon passage, and there must be a roll call vote.
Okay. Motion has been made and the resolution read properly by Alderwoman Hall. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion on the motion. We'll call for the question.
Call.
We will proceed to a vote. Alderwoman Hall.
Aye.
Alderman Frazier.
Aye.
Alderwoman Smith.
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving.
Aye.
Alderman Davis.
Aye.
Alderman Maroney.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you so much. We now have the department director's reports. Mr. Johnston.
Good evening.
You provided a draft of my report this past Friday, and there are some changes at the end of it, or additions, not changes to it. To reiterate, the public hearing that was just held, staff will be required, staff has led the required public hearing at the beginning of the board meeting. At the next meeting of the mayor and board, staff will bring to the board a potential project to consider seeking funding assistance and request a motion for the following. Motion to prepare and submit the application for funding consideration, motion for the required matching funds, and motion to allow the mayor to sign any and all documents required for the application submission. No action required. Receiving of quote bids, flooring and painting, Natchez Council Chambers, 2022 capital improvements bond issue. Quote bids for the installation of new flooring and painting at the council chambers were received at 11 o'clock a.m. on Monday, February 12th. A summary of the quote bids received are as follows. You see they're listed there, who the solicited quotes were from and their respective bids. It is a recommendation of staff in concert with consulting architect Wakehurst and Associates to accept the bid of the Rock Shop totaling $20,388.74 for the flooring and the bid of Smith Painting totaling $59,500 for the painting.
So moved.
Second.
A motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion. The question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Mr. Johnston.
Installation of pavers around the perimeter of the building at the Yazoo Mississippi Valley Railroad Depot. Staff in concert with consulting architect Wakehurst and Associates is requesting approval of change order number 1, totaling $1,575 to replace chipped, broken curbing adjacent to the new brick pavers being laid. It totals approximately 45 linear feet. Pleasure of the board.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion.
Yes.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
What location is this?
The depot in the front,
Oh, you said
where
depot. I
they
didn't hear that. Okay.
where they are laying the pavers. Have you
Railway
been
depot.
by
Okay.
there? Looking nice on the outside.
Very
on the
nice.
pavers. It is.
Very nice.
All right.
And the inside is too on the south end.
Coming along
This
very well.
change.
So we'll get ready to take a tour then soon.
Well, not just yet though. Yeah, not just yet, but it's getting close.
Go away anytime.
Will,
Yeah, you can.
yes.
No formal tour, though.
Alderman Frazier?
This change order, this wasn't in the bid, correct?
No, sir, this was uncovered, as they were doing it. Mr. Ronnie Lee is doing the brickwork over there as a subcontractor for Wilmar, and that was all uncovered as he's doing the paving work, laying the pavers, excuse me.
Are those brick inside the gate that?
Yes, sir. Those 20 or 30 pallets, yes, sir. Mhm. They're doing a good job out there. If you haven't been by there, Billy Joe.
All right. We'll call for the question.
Second.
Question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Next item.
Execution of letter of agreement, Yazoo Mississippi Valley Railroad Depot, request for proposal. Staff is requesting a motion to execute a letter of agreement with Waycaster Dungan to provide professional services as the city looks to execute a request for proposal to police the northern section of the depot. Waycaster Dungan will coordinate the developer's understanding of utility services and building limitations, opportunities relative to the building status with the Mississippi Department of Archives and History, as it is a landmark property. So all work has to be approved on the inside and out by Archives and History and Preservation Commission. Submittal and review evaluation, post-selection review to ensure compliance with city and MDH requirements, inspect work performed by developers contractor to ensure it corresponds with the approved plans, providing monthly progress reports. The letter of agreement will not exceed $3,600 unless additional fees are pre-approved by the city of Natchez.
Motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion. We'll proceed to a vote. Call for the question. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Thank you. Next item.
Angeletti House, 2023 Community Heritage Preservation Grant Program. I know that was some of the changes. Workshop was held on Friday, and I gave my packet on Thursday. The Angeletti House, 2023 Community Heritage Preservation Grant Program, funded by the Mississippi Department of Archives and History. Staff is requesting a motion to accept the memorandum of agreement for this preservation project and to allow the mayor to sign. The grant amount totals $142,161, and local match totals $94,785.24 for a 60-40 split. And the scope of work is listed below. Pleasure of the board.
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Irving, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion.
Just glad it's taking place.
Amen. We'll call for the question.
Mhm.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Issuance of a request for proposal, Yazoo Mississippi Railroad Depot Northern Section. Staff is requesting a motion to advertise for and receive proposals for this historic property located on Natchez Bluffs. A proposed timeline for this RFP is as follows, and you can read it or see it for yourself. Pleasure of the board.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall. Second. Second by Alderman Davis. I will have discussion.
Call the question.
Alderman Frazier.
What is dealing with James? I caught the last of it.
Say that again.
What are we talking about? I caught the last, I didn't get.
The depot, they're on the bluffs. The city is building out the southern section for use by Visit Natchez, if I'm correct. The northern section, the city will issue a request for proposal to lease it out to a potential developer, with it being their responsibility to lease it out based on a lease terms developed between the developer and the city of Natchez Mayor and Board of Aldermen.
So what are you saying? We're leasing it to?
You will be. We're going to be receiving proposals from prospective developers who want to lease it from the city.
This is another sublease, right?
No, sir. It'll be a direct lease between the city and a developer or company or individual. I think I said that right.
Yeah.
And you just need a motion to advertise.
Yes, sir. And
we
we'll be
already
receiving
have
two.
And we
And
already have a motion.
that's a tentative schedule.
And the motion's already been made and seconded. Okay. Any further discussion? We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. Next item.
Staff is in receipt of the notice to proceed for the, Silver Street Retaining Wall Project, State Economic Development Assistance Program funded by the Delta Regional Authority. Staff is in receipt of the needed notice to proceed and is requesting a motion to enter into a contract with Jordan Cousin Sessions to provide design phase and construction engineering and inspection services for this capital improvement project. Funds budgeted for engineering total $49,248. Please, board.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion?
This for the retaining wall, Jane.
This is the one when you go down Silver Street, take that first right at Bailey Park. Yes, sir.
Soon as you come down here.
Go down under the hill. Yes, sir.
Okay, where Steve Landon used to be.
Sir,
Where Steve Landon used to
I
be.
think so. Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
I
Yes,
just want to
Alderwoman
ask
Irving.
before they close it out, could you
Yeah.
scroll back down so that I can get that information pertaining to the Angeletti house on
Oh,
the,
certainly.
Yeah.
And it will ask the revised report to be
Thank
sent
you.
to you, Alderwoman.
okay.
Mr. Johnson, this report, it will please make sure it is sent to the alder persons. The next person up is Justin Dollar. Mr. Dollar.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Board.
Good afternoon.
First thing under my report presenting will be seeking permission from the board to enter into a contract with Volker Engineering. This will be for the traffic study of the downtown area, looking at the one-way streets that we have that are two-lane, looking at the parking, changing from parallel parking to diagonal parking and going to one-way. This is something I think we've been discussing for a while. I know that we have our upcoming micro seal project. So in doing so, before we do the micro seal project and look at the striping and so forth that comes along with that, feel like if this is something we're interested in, now would be the time to look at moving forward with that. So this is a contract with Volker Engineering. They would put together look at a bunch of different scenarios and put together a proposal to submit back to the city with information pertaining to that, if they think it would be beneficial, what the pros and cons are for the city of Natchez to do that. The project limits for that will be Main, Franklin, and from the community corridor down to Broadway, and of course all across here. So I guess you would say the core of the downtown area in relation to parking for that.
Okay. All right, what is the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall,
Second.
second by Alderman Maroney. Discussion?
Yes.
Alderman Frazier.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't we do a traffic study once before, last year or this year? We had a traffic study on it.
No, sir, we have discussed this several times, and that was one thing that was discussed heavily in the downtown master plan, was that at some point, they, I'm not gonna say recommended it, but it was discussed in there, and it said it needed further evaluation into that to see what really would be a benefit, if it would be a benefit to the city of Natchez. No, of course, we do have ongoing parking issues daily.
Another question.
Yes, Alderman.
How much is this traffic study gonna cost the city?
The proposal for this is $39,000, $554.42.
39,000.
Got a question.
Alderman Maroney.
And I assume what they'll do is study traffic patterns, parking density, speed of traffic. That's also a concern, is the speed of the traffic through the downtown area. So I would imagine that the benefit of such a project would be an increase in parking. I'm assuming that they'll tell us, all right, you've got X number of spaces now. If we go to this new plan, you'll end up with Y number of spaces. you go, obviously you have to go from 2 lanes going down these major streets to 1 lane in order to accommodate the angled parking. I would assume they would also tell us observed speeds versus what they project traffic speeds would be. I mean, because that's a problem downtown. If you're downtown on Main Street and you're parking on Main Street or Franklin Street and you're trying to get out of your car, and there's cars coming by at 40 miles an hour. And one of the potential benefits of this could be safety. I mean, a lot of safety benefits. And I'm not saying right now whether this is a great idea or not. I don't know. That's why we would contract with this company to do this survey. They would tell us, this is what you've got now, and if you make these changes, this is what you'd end up with. And would decide to do, Main and Franklin and not the cross streets. I don't know. I'm assuming they're going to look at all of that.
Yeah, so to answer your question, yes, this would be, I guess you would call it, maybe there's 6 tasks or a 6-part study feasibility study that would be done. Initially, the first thing would be a kickoff meeting to kind of discuss what we have discussed here, what the overall goals is, what we want to look at, that sort of thing. From that point, they would come out, they would do the traffic counts. Third would be the existing and future conditions assessment that they would take, not only currently, but where they project us to be in 15 years, 20 years, as far as downtown development, traffic counts, those sorts of things, parking, additions, those sorts of things. All that would be included under that. Task 4 would be a traffic modeling. Task 5 would be level of service analysis. And then task 6 would be the final report that would be reported back to the board. So yes, it would be, I would say, comprehensive and look at all different aspects of it.
Alderwoman Irving?
Thank you. With that kickoff meeting, would that include all the business owners to be a part of as the board? Because they're the ones with the businesses downtown. And, we need their input. We would need their input. I'm sure they would be in support of a study. However, you do need their input.
Yeah, I don't think, we haven't gotten down to the nuts and bolts of who would be included as part of the meeting.
Okay.
I think that would be
Just want to put that out there.
could probably decide.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Very good point. Alderman Frazier.
This traffic study is just gonna be, how far going downtown or how far you say going out? Franklin.
So I guess you'd say your east and west corridors would be Main, Franklin, and your north, south, and then you've got Main.
I can't hear you.
Your Main and Franklin, and then you would have MLK all the way down to Broadway, and then of course all the cross streets within that.
How far are we going out Franklin Street?
MLK.
Okay, to MLK.
MLK.
It's just from MLK
Back to Broadway.
back to Broadway.
Right, the other way going down East Franklin, of course, is not, as far as parking goes. It would stay as put.
What I'm trying to get this is so we're gonna stop at Martin Luther King if we're going on Franklin Street, right?
Right.
And then when we get over to Main Street,
Same way.
but we're gonna stop at the fire station.
That's correct.
Then we're going to the right, we're going down. We're going on down.
Your edges would be Main and Franklin, and then your start and stop would be MLK to Broadway, and then all the cross streets.
So we're gonna try to we're trying to see if is it gonna be feasible to have traffic going down Main Street? Like we got 2-way traffic going down Main Street now.
No, you have one-way
One way, one traffic. But you got 2 vehicles, what I'm saying. You got 2 vehicles going down Main Street.
That's correct.
And the same on Franklin Street.
That's correct.
So so the study is going to try to determine if we can have cars going the opposite ways.
No, not necessarily the opposite way, but goes more.
I'm talking to the man. Let him talk about, y'all hollering at me. You'll be hollering, but I'm not trying to get this straight. Come on.
So currently, as you stated, we have 2 lanes of traffic going down Main. It's only in one direction, but it's 2 lane. We have parallel parking along the edges. One of the things that would be looked at going to 1 lane and do parking, which can get more parking spaces throughout the downtown streets as part of that. It would increase the number of available parking spaces throughout the downtown.
But not saying that's not what we're gonna do.
I know, I'm
No,
saying,
no,
but
no.
but I think in the future, I thought in the future, we're gonna have a parking garage downtown. Okay, all right, thanks.
That's another discussion. Alderwoman Smith.
I was just gonna say when the city plan was done, another thought thrown out there was that you have two-way traffic to slow it down on Main Street and Franklin, because one makes people zoom, and so we don't know what they're
Right, so
suggesting.
they would take all that into account. Another thing that was discussed early on through that plan was the freight.
Yeah.
You know, as you're going downtown, you'll see 18-wheelers stop with the lane taken up, where they're having to unload because there is no one. So all of that would be looked at.
As you were mentioning the parking garage, I'm sure they'll look at the parking and talk about whether we have enough spaces for it. We know we don't already. We're running out, but be a part of it. There will be a lot of good information that we need as we grow, keep growing. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. But we do have to realize we are limited. Downtown merchants have to get the We'll call for the question. Question's been called. We'll proceed with a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item, Mr. Dollar.
Thank you. The next item is seeking permission to advertise for our yearly general bids.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Irving, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion. We'll call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Thank you. The next item before you is, and earlier, prior to the meeting, I passed out a paper that included the specific information on that. Here before you today, I have got 7 vehicles and 5 pieces of equipment that we would like to surplus at this time. Now, if I need to, I can certainly go through all of the particular pieces and the VIN numbers, but before we could just put this as part of the minutes on this, ever how you all would like me to do it, I can certainly do it.
That's fine. We don't have to read the list and then numbers. I'll entertain a motion. Oh, we already have a motion. I'm so sorry. Alderwoman Irving has made the motion.
Second.
And it was already seconded, I believe. Alderman Maroney seconded the motion. We'll have discussion. We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Thank you. The last item is, say, kind of a two-part what we just discussed. We just discussed a surplus list of equipment we're looking for surplus. So what I'm seeking now is permission to contract with Redbird Auction Company to dispose of the surplus list of equipment that was presented to you.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Irving, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion. We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Dollar.
Thank you, that's all.
We now have city officials reports. Alderwoman Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to first congratulate Superintendent Greg Booking of Natchez Golf, who did go to Guadalajara, Mexico at no cost to the city for their open golf tournament senior championship, and he did come in second. So we're very proud of that. He was leading at one point, and he did finish in second. Restoration has begun at the golf clubhouse. Glad to report that. Baseball registration continues, I think, through this week, and the fields are looking great at Duncan Park for baseball, which will begin youth baseball ages 3 through 12 in April. I attended the Heroes for Black History honors at NAPAC last week. It was an outstanding panel consisting of former Mayor Grinnell, Representative Robert Johnson III, and Natchez Adams School District Board of Trustees member, Mrs. Lawana Grinnell Ware. Outstanding attendance and panel discussion. I would like to say that last week, Chief Cal Green was on a panel discussion at one of the sessions at the Natchez Literary Cinema Celebration. Thank you, Chief Cal Green. Well done. Last night, I attended an outstanding program on the contributions of Blacks in this community and nationally for history. This was at Natchez High School. There are many scholars in our Natchez Adams School District, and it's important that we engage in that school district and support them. Much hidden talent that we are not aware of. Some of the orators began at pre-K4 through high school. It was outstanding. There were vocalists, choral ensemble, a wax museum by high schoolers who depicted Black historians throughout our city and the country. It's important. And I would like to especially thank Mrs. Tamla Hughes, who is the Natchez High School Teacher of the Year, the District Teacher of the Year, and Mrs. Angela Reynolds, who is the Administrator of the Year, and she's the Chief Administrator at Natchez High School, and all of their staff for an outstanding presentation. I think that is it, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Thank you,
You're
Alderwoman.
welcome.
Alderman Frazier, your report.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I attend quite a few Black History programs throughout the communities this month. And I'd just like to say all of them was very informative in keeping us abreast of what was going on in the country. And like I said, I just want to say Black history is very important and should be told, because of the way things are going now is trying to be, we have different groups of people who's trying to keep our history undercover, trying to, like, we didn't contribute anything. But again, I want to thank everyone who participated in these Black History programs, and I want to thank the kids too. So I would just like to say that. Now, I would like to say, is Mr. Dollar here?
No, he just left out.
Okay, I wanted to talk to him, Mr. Mayor, and also while you're here.
Yes.
We paid Concord Street, and I know we are trying to get the rest of the community streets and stuff paid, but it's over there on Concord and Kelly Street is where about they're putting this stuff and milling it. It's what this company did. They are tearing down the fence over there. The streets that we're paid, they tearing the streets up, and the people in the community are complaining about the trucks and stuff, the big 18 wheels, the big old dump trucks and stuff. And like I say, it's becoming nuisance and cumbersome to the people that stay in that area. But I'd like for you, Mr. Mayor, to go over there and look and see where about they've got piles of concrete from all over town, tall as this building almost.
Yeah.
And that don't look good in the community over there. But I know we're trying to do something for the community. But yet and still, I think that in that area, we do deserve a measure of respect, and it should be looked at. And plus, like I say, they're tearing down that fence, and I want to know when they get through with it, are they going to put that fence back up? So that's what I want to talk about today, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Also, Mr. Dollar is not here. I have a gentleman, and I want to find out something from him, because this gentleman is Mr. Washington, stay at 203 George F. West Boulevard. A tree, but the tree by and there's been an ongoing discussion about who should maintain that property, because it's in the behind his house. And from my understanding, long time ago, before I got on this board, that the city supposed to maintain that property back there. I don't know, but that's from what I heard. But he got a dead tree that's falling over from the back of his house until almost in the back of his yard. It's not a big tree, but he was concerned about should the city come tear it down, cut it down, or what. But I told him I had to look into that. Also, when I went back there, the city have a drain pipe, a big drain pipe that's going from Georgia West Boulevard right in between his house. That drain pipe is now is exposed and it to start caving back towards his property. And I need somebody to look into that. And I know that drain pipe is city property, so that needs to be looked into. And if that's possible with you, Mr. Mayor, get somebody to go out there and look. I discussed that with Mr. Dollar, but he didn't get back with me. So I just wanted to say that, Mr. Mayor, and
Okay.
that's all I got to say right now.
Thank you, Alderman Frazier. I'll make sure that is related. And I will say, after you and I spoke last week, I did ride the area with Mr. Dollar. He said he was addressing your concerns at Concord and Kelly. But I will, and that was Thursday when we made that. I will double check with him.
Yes. Before I close out, also I have another a pressing issue. My constituents in Westfield Lane over that area, in McIntyre, in that area, Miller is doing a lot of work over there. And the work that they're doing, once they complete the work, they're just leaving these rocks there. And these rocks now just got to be, and my constituents over there is complaining about, they just leaving the street all tore up and tearing the people's cars up, because once to wash out, then you got a big hole in the street. So I don't know. Excuse me.
Yes, we can report that.
Yes, I don't know, like I say, who is that Miller? I talked to some of the guys from Miller. They told me to call the gas company, but I'm like, hey, we need to do something. If you're gonna, like I say, if you're gonna put rocks down, you should come back later on and pay that area, like you're doing everywhere else, but just don't leave all that stuff over there.
That's exactly right. That's being done. Miller is a subcontractor for Atmos Energy, and we have had success in getting areas repaired that they basically meant to come back, but they delayed in coming back. Thank you for reporting that, and we will look into that.
I had an issue with that in my ward last year.
Yes.
But what they told me, they have another section of Miller Pipeline comes in and
That's
does
right.
the paving.
And they do.
So as long as they're aware that it needs to be paved.
That's right. And they have done that. But sometimes they're delayed.
But they do leave it.
Yes, Alderman
Excuse
Frazier.
me. She's exactly right. I was told that about that they have another crew that come in behind, but the crew shouldn't wait 3 or 4 weeks or a month or two to come back
You're
in
right.
and finish up.
You're right.
So, that's what I'm simply saying. Just don't neglect my ward and go somewhere else and finish on their ward.
I'm glad you mentioned that. We'll look into it. Thank you. Alderwoman Smith, your report?
No report.
Okay. Alderwoman Irvin?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I just want to share that I have attended several Black History programs in different locations as well as different schools. And I have to agree, we have hidden talent from our early youth to our adolescents. We truly have hidden talent here in the city of Natchez and the surrounding area. I also attended the Black History Parade, the second annual Black History Parade. It was truly a success. It was cold, but a great day. Vendors were great, and all of the vendors, some of them moved to the inside and they had great things to sell. So it was truly a great day with the Black History Parade. So I just want to put emphasis on that. Looking forward to next year. Also, I wanted to share with Mr. Johnston, I have identified 2 illegal dump sites. So do you want me to reach out to him and call and give him those locations?
If you would, but you're welcome to give those to me now.
Okay. One is going to be 53 Brenham Avenue.
Okay.
It's going to be off Brenham. It's down a little easement, but it's in the area of 53
All
Brenham.
right.
Okay. And the other one is going to be on Phillips Lane Road.
Okay. All right.
I also want to ask, could we get an electrical pole put up? I've received calls from several people in the area of Panea Hill and extension where the old city barn used to be, Mayor.
Yes.
It's rather dark in that area, and there are a lot of our older residents have great concern about the darkness and traffic up and down the hill. And so I want to ask, could we get a light pole put up there? A light.
We'll certainly look into that.
Okay, and that's at the end. It's addressing the area up near the city barn. It's extremely dark,
Okay.
the former city barn. Also, and I'll get with Mr. Dollar in reference to the Perrault Street. I think it turns into Lumber Street. It's approaching Cedarhurst Apartments. There are 2 deep potholes there. So you need to get those filled in.
And where are those again?
Approaching
Lumber Street.
Cedarhurst Apartments, Lumber Street,
Near Cedarhurst.
near Cedarhurst. 2 deep potholes.
All right.
Also, Mr. Mayor, I want to make an announcement. The Natchez Business and Civic League Incorporated is having its 46th annual awards banquet. That's going to be Friday, March 1st, 2024 at 7 p.m. at the Natchez Community Center. And I know it's now the Natchez Civic Center. Our guest speaker will be our Congressman Benny Thompson. Tickets are $25. If you would like one, I do have some available. But I hope to see you there. A very good event.
Thank you.
And that ends my report.
All right. Alderman Davis?
I have no report, but I see we getting Zaxby's and T-Mobile here now.
Yes. That's good.
That is.
Alderman Maroney?
I want to expound on what Billy Joe talked about with the street paving. I think it's important for all of us in our wards. Now that the paving is gearing back up as the weather's gotten better, we need to keep an eye, all of us anywhere we go in the city, and hold these folks to task on cleaning up after themselves and making sure that they do a neat job, not leave a bunch of broken concrete and chewed up asphalt in the medians and in people's yards and stuff like that. We need to keep an eye on that stuff and hold them accountable for it. Street lights, where are we on our street light project?
We are complete with the phase that we approved last year. For 1,000 streetlights have now been replaced. To my knowledge, my last communication with Energy, that now means that over half, well, half of the city street lights are high functioning LED. Now, if there are any areas that were on that list that possibly have been overlooked, please bring that to our attention, but it has been reported that they are complete. Now, we would like to accomplish a phase 2, but we have not done that yet. We have not brought that to you yet because that will be a budget item, but we can certainly look into that soon.
Thank you.
All right.
That's all for me.
That's all right. Alderwoman Irving.
He mentioned lights again, and I just want to say and ask the question, Melrose, street or drive, whose ward is that?
That would be.
It's 2.
Alderman Maroney.
Okay, there are 4 lights out on Melrose.
There
It's
are.
extremely dark.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got it. That's why I asked. I've got a number of places where
Okay.
lights are out. I'm going to go through my ward and just make a list and get them to.
Okay. Because there are 4 right on that front street. It's pretty
Okay.
dark.
And what we ask, whether it's from you, Alderman, Alderwoman, it helps if you give us the poll number and there's a metal tag on the utility pole. Give us that number and we'll be happy to report that. Energy is very good at a very fast replacement. Okay. Thank you. We now will go to the city clerk. Madam Clerk, you're recognized.
Thank you. First item is request for approval of the 2nd February 2024 claims docket.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion?
Yes. It's
Yes, Alderwoman Irving. Yes, Alderwoman.
I'm looking, trying to get the name. make sure I
While
got
you're
it.
looking, do we have any other questions? Do we? Okay. All right. Okay,
You can go on there.
okay. Do we have any other questions or discussion on the motion?
Oh, yes, Ms.
Oh,
Mayor.
yes,
there it is.
Alderwoman Irving?
It's page 51, and it's
Yes.
about the airport study.
Yeah.
And I see that this is a payment here, but I also see there's an account set up. When did we allocate that for the airport? I know we had talked about the study.
Yes, we approved that in the fall. The study was done. Payment had not been made, and that is paying for the study.
Oh, so
That was done by Jeremiah Gerald in the form of Princeton LLC.
okay.
And that study was complete, a very thorough study that showed very good numbers for Natchez.
Was that the report that we got earlier? Then that's what I'm asking, since you said it's something we've done, the report that we got earlier when we had the meeting here.
That report was not represented actually in person, but it was an emailed report. We can make sure you get that.
No,
Yes.
that's not what I'm asking. I'm trying to remember the time frame.
Yes.
You said this,
In
so
the fall,
had
we,
this.
I'd have to go back in the minutes, around October. I believe we did, and the report was done, and the city was invoiced, but we had not paid the invoice because the invoice had come as an email to my account, and I overlooked it.
Okay.
And they didn't bother to flag it until recently, and we said, oops.
To
Yes.
kind of help clarify, this was after he did come and make the visit and speak to the board.
Okay.
That this was approved and done.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. Any further discussion or questions? Question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Okay, next item is request for approval of the second February 2024 mini claims document.
What's the pleasure of the board? So moved. Second. Motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I would just say I
Irving.
like the appearance of the claims docket, the larger print, so
Well-
thank you
Well,
for
we
the format
updated
of
to
that.
kind of try to give a little more description and detail. on
Thank
these
you.
payments. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. The question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is request for approval of the interfund loans.
So moved. Motion has been made by Alderman Davis. Alderman Maroney. Discussion? The question has been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is request for approval of the interfund transfers.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion. We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is for the payroll transfers.
So moved.
By Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderman Maroney. Discussion. Call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Okay, next item is request for approval for Caroline Deason and Consuela Madison to travel to Jackson, Mississippi, March 4th through the 6th, 2024, to attend the Massey Spring Conference.
So moved.
Second.
Alderwoman Irving has made the motion, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion. Call the question. Will proceed in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Next item.
Okay, next item is request for approval for Ms. Caroline Deason to travel to Chicago on June 23rd through the 26th to attend the SHRM 24 Annual Conference and Expo.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Irving, seconded by Alderman Davis. Also, as I understand it, she won a trip
Well, she won her registration for the Mississippi SHRM
Oh,
conference.
okay.
So we haven't got,
Oh,
it'll
okay.
be,
I'll be
that
coming.
conference, I
Okay.
believe, is,
SHRM is an outstanding organization. So glad she's going. We'll call the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
next item is the deposits. We received 3
Before
bids.
we do that,
Mhm.
do
Oh.
we need,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I recuse myself from this
yes.
motion, from this discussion and.
Alderwoman Smith, let the minutes reflect that she has, because of a potential conflict due to her employment, she has recused herself from this discussion and vote and has excused herself from the council chamber.
Okay.
We will now proceed, Madam Clerk.
Yes, so we received 3 bids. I've kind of attached the summary and breakdown of how those came back. This is for the 2-year depository bids. We advertised on February, and we received at 2 p.m. on Friday, February 23rd. The recommendation is to award this bid to Home Bank, and that is based on the interest rates provided proposal along with other factors.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis. Question. Call the question. The question's been called. All in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Mr. Robinson, thank you. Alderwoman Smith is being. Alderwoman Smith, thank you. Let the record show Alderwoman Smith has rejoined the meeting. The motion was passed, establishing that Home Bank would remain the depository for the city funds. At this time, is that the end of your report?
I actually have one other item
Yes.
that didn't make it to my revised copy. It came to my box after I had printed these. Final item is request for approval of the engagement agreement with Silent Simmons to perform the fiscal year ending 9/30/23 audit.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion, we'll call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. Madam Clerk, I will ask you, how are we on track to make sure our audit is completed on time?
So in my communications with them, I am waiting for a final list of items that they need to perform the audit work that they do.
Okay,
Waiting to hear back from them.
all right. Thank you so much. Let's discuss, if a meeting is needed soon, let's have it. Don't want any delays. Thank you. Mr. Attorney, we are now ready for your report.
Thank you, Mayor. We had a chance to meet with the animal control, and I also had a chance to meet privately with Charlie Speed on the issue of the lease agreement between the city and the Natchez Adams County Humane Society. We claim authorship of this lease agreement, but what we have done is we have finally come to a final draft of the lease agreement. Mr. Speed had asked for a 1-year term. We agreed to a 5-year term. There were other requests that he made. We agreed to those requests. I'm finishing the document now, and by tomorrow, Friday at the latest, Thursday at the latest, the finalized lease agreement for approval by the mayor and board of aldermen.
All right. All right. Thank you. And I believe everyone has been given a copy of this proposed lease agreement. I would encourage everyone to read it, ask the attorney if you have any questions, and be prepared to vote on it at our next meeting.
The draft the working draft that was distributed is in extremely rough form. And we've refined it considerably.
Okay.
And so that's what I'm gonna have in the next 2 days, is a more readable and understandable document.
All right, thank you so much. I'm very excited that we are moving forward to make sure city can take on the responsibility of a second building that is located behind the Humane Society on Liberty Road, and to operate it not as a place where people come to make adoptions, but a place where we can take animals that then are processed either for adoption through the Humane Society or relocation through hoofbeats and paw prints. So we are very close to having that completed. The funds for that project are budgeted and will come from our Community Development Fund. Yes, Alderman Smith.
Mr. Mayor, am I correct in that this is meant for animals that our animal control
Yes,
picks up?
yes,
Not for
yes.
the public to drop?
Yeah, that's why I said this is not an
Correct.
adoption agency. This is only for those that our, main- yes. No, this is not a drop-off location. The Humane Society will continue to be the drop-off location. This is strictly for those that are seen to be homeless and posing a threat to themselves and also to the community.
The lease addresses that as well.
Alderman Frazier, yes.
This is, this lease is strictly for the city, right? Not the county.
That's right. It's for the city, and the facility will be operated by our 2 city personnel plus any part-time we have to bring in, prisoner help if we bring them in, volunteers if we bring them in. Volunteers will have to be clear and agreed to, contracted. All of this has to be done legally. And also, I think it's important to note that they have requested that there be annually an opportunity for either party to end the agreement. However, we are making sure that if they should end the agreement, that any of the city money that has been, I'm sorry, we need to have attention and order in the council chamber. The money that the city is spending on this will be appropriated over, while we'll be spending it up front, we are spending it with the intention that we can have at least a 5-year agreement. Should that agreement end early, then the city will have to be refunded a pro rata portion of that of expenditures on this Humane Society, on this building at the Humane Society property.
Mr. Mayor, I have one more question.
Yes, Alderman Frazier. Alderwoman,
You want to go next?
Alderwoman Hall.
Yes, sir. I'd just like to remind the public that these guidelines are in accordance with our Attorney General's recommendations.
Thank you, Alderwoman Hall. Any further discussion? Alderman Frazier.
Mr. Mayor, I like the way you went into detail to that and explained it into a little more detail. But I have, my question is that, who's gonna be monitoring them? When we're spending our money, are we gonna be monitoring how they spent the money, or are we just gonna give them the money and let it go?
That's a very good question, Alderman Frazier. The Humane Society will not take this money. The city will, with our architect being Johnny Waycaster, who has already created the design, and then our director of our public properties, Jody Rudder, will be overseeing the process. And this board will actually approve that work, and it will be either quotes gotten or bids gotten. So once the agreement is signed, the next step will be getting all of these improvements in place and bringing them to the board for approval.
That concludes the report, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lazarus, you've been working hard on a lot of fronts, and we really appreciate your work. Now the mayor's report. it has been recommended to us, and I'm looking for the documentation. Madam Clerk, do we have the documentation on the recommendation for the Burn Agency has recommended that we contract with CBIZ Valuation Group LLC as recommended by the Burn Insurance Agency?
It's my understanding your office was preparing that
Well, I don't
documentation.
see it in the packet. And
I read something on it.
we had provided that to the alderman, but somehow it did not make my packet. I can, have you received the proposal?
Nope.
All right, I'm going to bring this back.
We're
We're going to table, not table, but we're going to hold this until next meeting because there are some items I'd like to read. And I apologize. I will say my schedule last week was such that in preparing for the agenda Friday, I was at so many events and so many things happening that a couple things obviously fell through the cracks, this being one of them. But I want to just mention this. We had a significant increase on our property casualty insurance for the city of Natchez, covering our buildings and our vehicles and our business personal property, that is property belonging to the city. And there's a reason for this, and that's because in this environment we're in spite of our very good loss ratio, a lot of companies are getting out of the business of writing municipal insurance because it has been a loss leader in the country over the last several years due to increased litigation. Some of this has really escalated seemingly since COVID. It has created a challenge, but what a lot of municipalities are choosing to do is to engage the services of a consultant to review thoroughly the policies, the coverages, the coverage amounts, how everything is structured, and to recommend changes that can result in a decrease in premium. Our agent, longtime agent Johnny Byrne, has recommended this, has offered us a proposal from a very respected company, CIZ Valuation Group. And we will have more information on this at the next meeting, but that is a brief summary. Alderwoman Smith?
Just quickly, do you know if their fees are based on savings?
No, they are not.
Okay.
Their fees, as I understand it, is a basic fee and reasonable. We're talking less than $10,000. Am I right, Madam
I
Clerk?
believe that's
Yeah.
correct. I was trying to go back and see if I could pull it on an email.
I actually
but-
was surprised to see the fee. And I do have it in my emails, but I don't want to rush it because I want the alderman to be able to read it and be able to consider it and ask questions between now and the next meeting. But we'll have that sent out. The next item has already been taken care of. We can strike that. Also, we are, Ms. Germany was going to be with us, but she's had to go out of town. So we are holding that until the next meeting. But I do want to tell you, Ms. Germany has done a lot of work and she has exhausted the terms of an agreement we entered into with her at an earlier meeting a few months ago. Her job being to investigate grants and to assist the city in moving forward on searching out and applying for grants. She has helped us with a police grant that has been obtained. She has also been helping us with grants for fire department, for recreation. She's been working on a grant and has helped submit a grant for the U.S. Colored Troops Monument Project and some other discussions, even pertaining to the Angeletti House and others, the Med Natchez grant. She has exhausted that agreement. She has worked well beyond for free what was included in that agreement. And so we are going to be recommending at our next meeting that we re-engage with her at the same terms as the prior agreement, but just so that she can continue this effort. There are historic grant dollars available. We're wanting to make sure that we're taking advantage of them. While we're talking grants, we've also investigating grants for Med Natchez. We have found a possibility of applying for a particular grant that would provide funds enough for us to take our Med Natchez vision to the next level, and that is a Med Natchez director to lead us in a recruitment campaign for medical talent for Natchez. This is a very particular, very specialized grant, very much like a workforce development grant. We've been talking to Crystal Matthews, our consultant in Baton Rouge, who successfully wrote a $450,000 workforce development grant for us last year, about this time. And we hope to have more information for you soon regarding a Med Natchez grant and very possibly utilizing the services again of Ms. Matthews. So that constitutes that item on the agenda. We'll have more for you at the next meeting.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I just want
Alderwoman
to ask
Irving.
about your report. Did we get a copy of the contract with Ms. Hudson, Ms. Germany?
It was a letter several months ago that was approved.
No,
And it
I'm
was
not
unanimous.
questioning.
I
I'm
don't
just.
know that it was even a contract as much as just a letter that was written and we accepted. We can look back and see that.
Okay, because our,
Mhm. Okay, we'll make sure to
okay.
have a copy at our next meeting. And it'll just be a matter of, continuing on. All right. And then last year we did this in the heat of the summer. It was really too late, but we still got done because we missed the spring. We, every year, work very hard to make sure that we honor the victims of the Rhythm nightclub fire. That important grave, and it is a mass grave site at Watkins Street Cemetery, is marked by a grove of crepe myrtle trees. Monroe Sago, who is a master gardener, treats those each year at the cost of $495. And we have been paying him on an annual basis to do that. I'd like to seek approval for that to be done right away.
So moved.
Alderwoman Irving, motion, seconded by Alderman Frazier. We will have discussion.
So, yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
So
Alderwoman Irving.
You said it's just that area over at the
Yes.
Watkins
At
Street
Watkins
Cemetery.
Street Cemetery, and we do this under a resolution allowing the city to maintain the cemetery under auspices provided by the Secretary of State's office and on record now in our city.
Thank you.
The question has been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Thank you. The ayes have it. Motion carries. That doesn't, I know miscellaneous items is on here. I have 3 items that are really important that I've got to tell you about. Actually, 4. The first one is easy. I want to thank Alderman Davis for breaking my record. Last meeting and doing a great job conducting the meeting while I was out of town, and also while our Mayor Pro Tem had to be out of town. And thank you so much. Good job. We can quote Jan Griffey on that article. Jan Griffey said. The next item, I have been waiting to tell you this. We've had multiple meetings with property owners of land under the hill pertaining to our Silver Street project. And the best meeting we have had to date was conducted yesterday with our attorneys and with the family members of the Big Lane family in particular. We discussed items.
Mr. Mayor, before you proceed, is there any vote or anything?
No, there's no vote.
Just work.
I know.
So I just wanna make sure.
There's no vote necessary. This is just an update. But I have very good news. It looks like we are about to have all of the last agreements ready to sign so that in early March we can proceed with bidding the project. Also, I met Alderman Hall. Also, being that this is her ward, we met with a group of the shareholders from under the hill just this afternoon to discuss protocols for dealing with the project when it gets underway. Now, nothing is totally set yet. We're waiting to bid the project. But if we're able to bid it in early March, we then anticipate, provided the bids come in under budget or at budget, we will be able to proceed in May, early May, with the project. Now, should the bids come back too much, we'll have to have another bidding, the project occurring in July, beginning in early July. It takes about 45 days for the bidding process and another 2 weeks for a contractor to be able to set up and get started. We are working this so that we can avoid having to return any of these funds to the federal government because we are using ARPA funds. ARPA funds provided to the city, but also ARPA funds provided through the State Department of Environmental Quality to the city for this project. So all of that said, we are hopeful that we can begin the project in early May. This will be a 4 to 6 month project, but beginning the project in early May would allow us to have the bulk of it done by where the street can be opened, even if it's not complete, dealing, still with some final details. The design has already been approved, as you know, through the Preservation Commission and also Archives and History. And the design basically raises the road in its lowest point so that it can meet any flood event that may happen according to the last 120 years, including the highest level in 2011, which was over 62 feet. And we are doing that by not only raising the street, but also reinforcing the sidewalk in this area with steel so that it can hold the weight of HESCO baskets. And the city then would be able to put those baskets in place on the sidewalk to further protection if needed so that the street could remain open. This is a historic project, and we're so grateful that we have funds available for the project. We just look forward to a successful conclusion. Be prepared. We could be calling a special meeting between now and the next meeting to have final approval and to proceed. I will be asking although all of these documents have been provided to you in the past and nothing has changed aside from some last details on liability and lease agreements, I will ask Mr. Johnson to send all of these to you again, so you'll have them again. The public may be asking, what is it going to look like? Well, just imagine a raised section at the lowest area with a seawall that will be steel reinforced, but it will also have the timbers. It will create a very nice appearance from the river, just as the wooden retaining wall behind the camp appears. Also, the handrail that you see, that goes down Silver Street, is a wooden guardrail. It will be continued along the seawall to provide extra, protection and safety, but it also will be supported not only by the wooden handrail, but steel reinforcements. And then the old lighting that goes down Silver Street, it will continue along the seawall portion. It will create a beautiful vista, and it will create a bus area for bus loading and unloading from river boats so as not to block traffic. And it also will raise the land in that area to a level where commercial development can take place in that area. People ask, well, what would that commercial development look like? It will look like under the hill, because it will be sanctioned commission and by the planning commission. So this is an exciting report, and let's wait for that special call meeting that we hope will happen in the very near future. Also, tomorrow is the day that we will submit our raised grant application for Forks to Freedom Corridor. We came very close last year. We are submitting again. We have expanded the project because this project is to incorporate everything from Devereaux Drive all the way to the forks of the road, to Rebels Plaza, and beyond, even to the bluff, where the future site of the Natchez U.S. Colored Troops Monument will be located. It includes many improvements throughout the area, and it also enhances pedestrian safety throughout the area, and to include better crosswalks downtown, better crosswalks in the vicinity of Hiram Revels Plaza, and better crosswalks in the vicinity of Forks of the Road. They're great components, and we look forward to a successful application. In studying successful last year, we found that many larger projects were awarded, and that gave us the enticement to increase our project scope to $24.5 million, just shy of the $25 million limit. A lot of work has gone into this, and I think we are definitely putting our best foot forward. Neil Schaefer has worked very, very hard on this. Community partners, including Zion Chapel, Friends of the Riverfront, and the National Park Service, and so many others have worked on this. So my last update is we have been in talks with the state aid engineer, Harry Lee James, regarding the Natchez Canal Street Bridge over the Natchez Southern Railroad. As you know, this board at a recent meeting did ask to engage or approve engaging the services of Volkert to do further study on the bridge. Volkert has been looking at that. We will have a report soon, but we also are comparing what they're providing to what has already been provided by Stantec Engineering and through the Office of State Aid. And this is a very serious matter that we are not taking lightly, and we have been keeping the state aid engineer and the state Office of State Aid informed, and we hope to have more information for you to act upon at a future meeting. The main question being, is it better to repair or replace? And if we repair now, how long will that repair last? And if we replace, how much will that cost? And it may be necessary to repair now to allow enough time to find the funds to replace, should the replacement cost be determined to be too high. So a lot of moving parts, a lot's been going on, and that concludes my report. I thank everyone.
Motion to adjourn.
So motion to adjourn by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion. We'll call for the question.
All.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Nay.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. I've got a sleeping bag you can borrow.
And he's gonna vote against.